Full House is one of those shows that I feel like needs no introduction, but I hadn't watched it until this year. So I'm doing this video with the hope that it will introduce it to other people and hopefully encourage you to watch it. This will probably be quite a long, waffly video as I just divulge a lot of my thoughts about this because I am painfully obsessed. But I won't give any spoilers to the specific episodes. However, there probably will be spoilers for the overall story arc that stretches across season 1. So, if you are unaware of what Full House is about, this is the predecessor to the more recent Netflix sequel, Fuller House, and it's about 3 men, one of whom is the father, who look after 3 girls after their mother has passed away. And that sounds like it's going to be a really emotional, but actually it's not. It's a fantastic comedy. Obviously it has its raw moments, but for the most part, it's just laugh a minute. It is really, really funny. So our main cast members are John Stamos as Jesse Kostopoulos. For some reason, he's listed as Jesse Cochran on Wikipedia. I'm not sure if there's something in that or if that is just a genuine error. Bob Saget plays Danny Tanner and David Coulier as Joey Gladstone. And basically, there are 3 polar opposites. Can you be polar opposite if there are 3? I don't think so. Danny Tanner is the father of the Tanner children. He is a neat freak. He's very clean. Is he a presenter in the first series? Yes, he is. And he obviously wants everything to be in perfect order for his girls, but at the same time, he can't manage everything on his own. So he enlists the help of his best friend, Joey, who is... He's the very childlike humour. He is very immature, but very loyal and very funny. And then we have Jesse Kostopoulos, apparently Cochran, who was the mother's younger brother. And he's the cool dude, he's the musician, he wears the leather jackets, he's the fun, cool uncle. And I think we have a really great mix there, and that's one of the reasons why Full House works so well, is because you have a lot of different personalities with one main goal, and that is to care for the 3 young children. And our young children are DJ Tanner, played by Candace, who I think is 10 at the start of the show. Stephanie, played by Jodie Sweetin, who is 5 and absolutely adorable. And then we have Michelle Tanner, who is like 6 months or 8 months old or something at the beginning, played in turn by Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. And 100%, without a doubt, I watched this show because I loved the Olsens. I grew up worshipping the Olsens. I wanted to see where their beginning was. And yeah, I came for the Olsens. I stayed for the entire show because it's absolutely perfect. So, for my own selfish reason of wanting to just talk about this show at length, I'm just going to go down the 22 episodes from season 1 and share my thoughts. As I said, each episode I won't give any thoughts on, but I'll give my thoughts on each episode, but no spoilers for the episodes, but there may end up being a spoiler for the story arc. I may also get some of the numbering wrong. I'm using Wikipedia to remind me of the episode titles, and it should be fine. In the Unaired pilot, Danny Tanner was actually played by John Posey because Bob Saget was unavailable, and you should watch it if you can find it. It's online. It's weird. It's different, but it's interesting. So the first episode, the show's written by Jeff Franklin, by the way, who is a god, absolutely amazing. So the first episode is our very first show. Really, it's just introductory. It's there for, just introducing the characters, learning about the characters, and kind of setting the groundwork for the rest of the series because we start to learn which character has which role. And then we have our very first night, which really sets the tone of the girls. Jesse is in charge of looking after the girls at night, but he has band rehearsal. I love that because straight away it says that Jesse may not be the most responsible person, but actually he steps up to the plate when he needs to be. Episode 3, first day of school. Stephanie is going to kindergarten, and it's absolutely adorable. We also get the first appearance of Kimmy Gibbler, Andrea Barber. I love Kimmy. Kimmy was originally, if I remember rightly from what I read in Barber's book, she was originally meant for 1 episode, then stayed for 5. and then became a permanent member. So I love Kimmy, and I think she had such a great amount to the show. The return of Grandma. Grandma Tanner comes and visits the house, and even though Danny Tanner is a neat freak, Grandma Tanner even more so. So she has one or two things to say to the 3 adult males in charge. It's a lot of laughs. Sea Cruise, not one of my favourites. The 3 men go on a male bonding fishing trip. There are some women there. I didn't really like the episode too much. I do prefer the episodes where it focuses on the children, because I think they are a good source of humour, but also the way the adults interact with them as well brings out a lot more comedy. There's nothing wrong with the episode, it's just not one of my favourites. Then we have Daddy's home, and Michelle is trying to talk, and he feels like he's missing out on some of her iconic moments, so he begins to have father-daughter days with each of his 3 children. This is great because each of the 3 children, including Michelle, I guess, chooses a different father-daughter day, and it really shows their different personalities, even though they're all sisters. I think that's really effective in helping to portray them as individuals rather than just the 3 daughters of Danny Tanner. Knock yourself out. Danny Tanner is going to try out to become a boxing announcer, and it's a bit monotonous. There's nothing particularly exciting about this episode for me. I do think Joey and Jesse are very good in this episode. When they tackle Michelle as a team, I think it's a lot of fun in that sense. Then we have Jesse's girl, and obviously this one's very Jesse-centric, and we begin to learn about his interests in women. And I wouldn't say he's a player as such. Certainly in the beginning he's a lot more interested in dating different women, but as his character progresses, I think we get to see a more sentimental side of him. I really like him. Then we have the Miracle of Thanksgiving, which is chaos, absolute chaos, and it's a lot of fun. They're having their first Thanksgiving without their mother, and obviously you can imagine just there are a lot of things they want, a lot of things they can't do without Pam. It's chaos, but it's heartwarming, and I'd say probably the first one in the series where I genuinely shed a proper tear. It is emotional, but it's really nice. Joey's Place. This one is this one broke my heart a little bit because Joey goes away, and when he comes back he thinks that they've kicked him out of the house. And what actually happens is so lovely and heartwarming, and I think by this point I just started to cry at a lot of things. It was really nice. Episode 11 is The Big Three-O. Danny Tanner's about to approach 30. He begins to have a bit of a midlife crisis and wants to buy a car. It's thrilling. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this episode. I think we see more of Jesse and Joey here working together as a team, and what we get is just pure comedy. Our very first promo, Danny Tanner is doing a news feature, and he films his family at home, and there's some replacing of people, and the production crew want to change things up quite a lot. It's a very relaxed episode after quite a few quite intense ones, and I think it's actually a really good laugh. Then we have Sisterly Love. This one's pretty this is the first time we see the most tension between DJ and Stephanie, because DJ wants to audition for a cereal advert, and Stephanie just ends up being there and gets a lot more attention than DJ, and we see a lot of tension between them. And there's this chase scene in the kitchen, and I don't know how many times they rehearsed it, but they made it look so effortless. You know, really young actors there, and they just did it absolutely fantastically. Then we have Half a Love Story, and Jesse meets Robin, who is Danny's current co-worker, and Jesse begins to use Michelle to get women, and we get to see quite a bit of Michelle here, which is lovely. I cannot tell the difference between the 2 Olsen twins in this. I have no idea who is who. A pox in her house. Stephanie catches the chicken pox, and, well, as you can imagine, it's a very full house. It's going to cause a lot of problems. I really liked Stephanie in this one. I thought she was great fun. Then we have But Seriously Folks. DJ is starting to learn the guitar. And it looked like DJ would be the musical one in the family, apart from Jesse. But you'll know if you've seen the show and how it progresses, and certainly if you've seen Fuller House, it's interesting to see how they treated DJ as a character here, and then what actually happened to her character over the decades, I guess. Danny's very first date. Danny goes on a date, his first one since his wife passed away, and not only is he nervous, but obviously his children are going to be having very, very mixed emotions about this because they've just lost their mother and they don't want a replacement. And Danny he's in between a rock and a hard place. Oh, I didn't know this. Just one of the guys is a very interesting episode because I didn't realise who it was. Danny's nephew Steve comes to visit the family, and DJ loves Steve. Fantastic character. And she completely idolises him, but he's getting a little bit older and more mature now, and he doesn't really want to be hanging around with a 10-year-old. So it's all about DJ learning that boys will grow up. I didn't realise he was played by Kirk Cameron, who is Candace Cameron's brother. I didn't realise that's who it was at the time, so that's pretty cool. And then we have a two-parter, the 7-month itch. And apparently Mary-Kate and Ashley both appear in the same episode. Yes, they do. There's a very funny moment where we get to see both the Olsen twins on screen together. That does happen occasionally throughout the show, but not too frequently, and certainly not frequently enough. This episode's pretty decent. Jesse had some plans because the rest of the family were going away to Disneyland, but that got cancelled. Jesse's plans are ruined, and he begins to question his role in the family and, for how long can he live in this house and help out when he has his own life to live as well. And it's very poignant and very quite an emotional episode, and I think it could have been a finale, actually, but it wasn't. There were two more. So we have Mad Money, and Joey gets some money, just a little bit, not too much, and there's quite a lot of tension in the house, and this is the first time we really see Joey in a negative light because he owes people money. He hasn't had a regular income, but he gets this £5,000 and he splurges, even though he owes other people money, and that creates quite a bit of tension, and it's the first time we see this comedic character in a more serious light. But it works very well, and it doesn't leave Joey on a bad note. And then the last episode is DJ Tanner's day off. And, DJ skips school, and she and Kimmy go to the mall, even though she should be at school. And the good thing about this episode, even though it's not the most exciting for a series finale, it's really powerful in the fact that all three of the parents, who are basically like three father figures, come together to work out the necessary punishments and how to teach lessons as a team. And I think that's really effective. And basically that's what the entire show is about. It's how to co-parent, how to raise children, and how to work together. And also obviously how to come together as a family when times are tough. And I liked it. Not the strongest season finale, but it was good. Season 1 obviously was amazing, and it got off to a great start, and I became very addicted instantly. So I can't wait to talk about the rest of it, and I will eventually talk about Fuller House. But for the moment, I'd love to know what you think of Full House and who your favourite characters are.